Good morning to my early birds here a minute early.
Good morning. Morning.
How are you guys doing?
We're good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. Are you ready for search houses now at 11:30?
You're talking about the team that I'm meeting with, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I will be on. I've got it in my calendar with a link and everything. So thank you for setting that up.
no problem.
Cool. Do you have any idea how long they're expecting me to speak?
About 15, 20 minutes.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you. Awesome. Good morning, folks.
So
Hey, oh, go ahead.
just so you know, our listings and our buyer activity is down. So if that gives you any indication what.
Thank you for sharing that for sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, as people are rolling on, let's get a couple of something goods. It's Monday. Let's start it off right. Who's got something good that they'll share from the last week? This call will go so much better when y'all participate.
We've signed a recruit up for Bold last week. Our goal is to get I think we have 4 of the 5 spots filled. So our goal is to get 1 more this week so we can change some lives and get some recruits in the room. What if we have more, Hudson, than just 5? Is there an opportunity to bring in a 6th? I hate to say no to recruits.
Well, so you can still bring them in. It's just the discounts are out. So
Okay.
it would be full price. And I would also say get with, like, I mean, you guys are all the same ownership group. See where everybody else is at and if anybody's willing to share, because I know they're not all used for your group. So
okay, thank you for that. Yep.
No, I appreciate that. And that's great. And I trust that all of you are, or starting today will, be utilizing those recruit codes that you've gotten. Everybody on here has at least 5 of them, and host market centers, which there are 3 of total on this call, have 10 of them to use. So for $199, you can send somebody to Bold, and it's up to you if you want to pay it or they pay it. That part doesn't matter. It's a discount as long as they are not KW. Yes, if they joined in the last 2 weeks, that doesn't count unless they're already registered, because they do check to make sure when their sign-on date is. So awesome. All right, give me one more. Give me something good.
We've been up in Maple Grove. We've been doing an 8x8 for $5 to $8 million producers, and we've made really good traction. And we actually had somebody come in for their meeting and join the same day, and she's plugging in so much, going to Bold, and we're just having great conversations with that. That
is wonderful. Way to use a system and have it work for you. Isn't it fun how when we do what they tell us to do, it works? I love that. All right. Thank you guys. And so here's what I want to do today. I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction. So just roll with me. Here's the first thing I'd like to do. I'd like to ask, and you can use the chat box to kind of answer. If we look at your agent population for whatever market center you're representing, I'm curious what percentage of them that you feel is struggling. And let me be clear, that would be struggling in their real estate business, struggling financially, struggling with mindset, struggling with the market, whatever it is. Like, what percentage of your market center do you believe is struggling? All right, we got Howard, so just type it into the chat box. Those of you that are away from, I know some of you are in a room together, you can unmute and just say it. Come on, I only got 2 of you. What percentage of your market center do you believe is struggling?
100%.
100, okay.
Well, only 39% of our agents wrote a contract last month. So
okay. So obviously, like, here's the deal. Even if you're participating in Bold, you wouldn't be here right now on this call if you didn't know there was value to Bold. So I know that that's there. And here's what I also know. I know that for some of us, we're pretty far behind on the goals that we've set for ourselves. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play a video for you guys. Now, it's like 3.5 minutes long. Here's the cool thing about that. You get to choose what you do with it. Now, you can totally, because like no one will be paying attention, you could like text somebody or answer some emails. Like, you could do that. And what I'm going to invite you to do is just be present and listen to this video. And then we're going to use that as the catalyst to the rest of this call. So let's see if you're performance coach who is not a tech coach is going to be able to share his sound and his screen at the same time. I believe I can. There it is. Look at that. All right. Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to hit play.
This is called How Do I Know? And a lot of times when people hear the phrase, how do I know? The next thing they say is what? How do I know what? But the key really isn't to know what. The key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that has moved me towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We were in Winston-Salem. So Break Time, this is how it works. I travel the country, I do stand-up comedy, probably an hour, hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. I was like, all right, you teach music, you know, can you sing? And then I'm just gonna show you the clip. Check it. So you're a musical director. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing, you know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know which version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Right now I'm found, was blind, but now I see.
So here's the thing. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time I asked him to sing, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose.
All right, let me stop share. There you are. Okay, so tell me what you took from that. And if you're like, why did you play that for me? Oh, let me stop that. Yeah, no, we don't need your vision hack. All right, what did you get from that? Why did I play that? Who has a clue? There are no bad answers. Just go for it. Cynthia, just go for it.
Yeah, well, and until we know why someone's doing what they do, we have to help them connect the why and the what, like the why being bold, the why being lead generation, the why being relationship building, because that feeds something much bigger, which is creating wealth, you know, a legacy for their family. You know, it's really tying it's emotional, right? It's emotional. Then it's, you know, it's actual physically, what am I doing? Because if those two things aren't connected, we're never getting people motivated.
Well, and I appreciate that. And you're right. And do you guys all know truly what you're doing by helping these agents get into a different environment? That would be my question for all of you to kind of consider. And I'm going to come to you in a second, Howard. I do see your hand. Like, the conversations are hard. I get it. Your jobs are hard. Your world is hard, and your jobs got harder about a year ago when the market started to shift. And I understand. And it's really easy to be like, I got so many other things to do. They'll go to bold or they won't go to bold. I think I know it's more than that. And when the best number I got for what percentage of agents are suffering is 50%, here's what my brain says. Whatever percentage you put down, that's the amount of people that should be in bold, at least at step one, if not for the entire thing, which means we have a crazy huge opportunity to hit and even surpass our goals. Howard, go ahead.
So, not to get all musical technical on you, yet it relates to what you're saying, right? Because I happen to be a music educator. The first time he sang that, he sang it in a low octave, and he sang it exactly in one time signature, and it was extremely structured. The second time he sang when he says, to know your why, if you notice, he raises it an octave, and he's completely out of time in the positive way from the standpoint that it was emotion, not logic. So I thought it was structure was just emotion, right? 3/4, right? Then he changed into all that freeform rubato, which was out of time, but his emotion was involved in it. And when I equate that to what we do, like to do what we do at the highest level, it's real messy. Like it gets messy and it's out of structure, yet it can be effective. And we try to stay in our box, in our 3/4 box in the low octave, right? We're not as messy. We're structured, but we don't have the same effectiveness. And so it kind of resonated with me from the standpoint that to be effective, higher is louder, which is great because we're going to have to get loud about this. I was thinking about this morning from the standpoint that we have so few days now till first step. Our goal is we want the room sold out. Let's face it, we want our room sold out before the first step happens because the energy in first step will be so much better. And it's just got a little scary that we're going to have to scream a little bit louder and a little bit higher to get that message across. Did that make sense? I hope that it did.
No, it makes a ton of sense, and I really appreciate it. And I think you gave me an even better analogy that I didn't even have sitting there. Like, if you are, and I trust that the bulk of you are, the conversations that you are having on a one-on-one basis with your agents, or frankly, even the ones in larger groups like a meeting or a class, like, are you the first time the guy's saying, or are you the second guy the time the guy's saying? Like, are you worried about saying the perfect things, or are you coming from your heart? You know, when you call somebody and have an average conversation, you're going to get an average result. And guess what? You're also going to get done quicker. And I know that makes you happy because you can just go on to the next thing. And yet we have people who are like truly suffering. Like you guys just authored that. Like, I didn't give you the numbers. You gave me the numbers. And I think your numbers are accurate. And for some of you, your numbers are probably generous. Like, agents are suffering right now, which is going to cause you to suffer if you're not already, right? So like, what can we do? And here's the cool thing. 2 weeks is not a ton of time, and 2 weeks is enough time. So I don't care if your market center is like doing pretty well and you're a little bit behind, because we have a lot of that. We've got people in the middle. We've got some market centers who aren't even on the board yet. Guess what? 2 weeks is enough time. And, you know, as we're told, and the one thing, and from so many smart people, right? Like, there is always enough time to get the right things done, to get the important things done. So I'd like to open it up. I can't tell you guys what to do. I mean, I can. You're not going to do it, right? Like, with love, like, you're not going to do it, right? We have 2 weeks. 2 weeks is enough time. 1 week kind of isn't. So like, this week is super important. What can we do this week? I'd like to focus on reasons. I don't want to focus on that. I'd like to focus on results rather than reasons, the plan rather than the problem. What can we tangibly do? And by we, I mean you guys. Like, and I'll help, right? As I have been. Everybody who's asked me to meet with a team, meet with an agent, I've done it, and almost everybody has signed up. I'm doing another one after this. Like, I got your back. You got to let me in though. What can we do this week to make sure that next week is not level 10 painful? Go for it. There are no bad ideas, just talk.
I feel like Rainmakers are our vehicle, Hudson. Like they're,
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones that have direct connection to teams in all of our market centers. So I feel like anything we could do, whether it's getting, you know, most of these Rainmakers should be doing Q4 focus planning right now, and then of course leading into 2024 planning. So maybe we piggyback on, hey, Linda Crusoe, hey, Jared Rutherford, hey, Jake Cancarelli, hey, blah. When is your Q4 planning happening right now? Or when is your next meeting that maybe I can jump into, or maybe I can get Hudson on a call in with you as well. He can interject. I don't know. I just feel like that's the, you know, yes, we have hundreds and hundreds of agents, but the Rainmakers are our quickest vehicle into those veins, if that makes sense.
100%. 100%. And the culture of your offices rises and falls with the Rainmakers, in my opinion. Like, I know that cap wise, we all make the same money if they cap, right? Like, I know that we don't make more money because they sell more. The office feels different because they sell more. And when our Rainmakers are suffering, when our Rainmakers leave because they were susceptible to being recruited, like, it's not a good feeling in the market center. So I love that. What else? What can we do that maybe we haven't done? What did we do a couple weeks ago and didn't execute super great and we could redo? Come on, guys. What can we do in order to create magic, massive movement this week?
Hudson, we talked about just doing quick video clips of all the folks, especially our top producers who've signed up for Bold, just a 60-second or less why they're in Bold, and inviting the rest of our agents to come. I think agents listen to top agents. And if I'm a top agent and I'm in the room and I'm saying, you got to be in the room, you know, let me know if you want to go, come talk with me. And then they can then, you know, get it leadership involved. I think there's a huge opportunity there. Also, the scholarships from KW.
Yes.
My 2 agents apply, written 2, one, I've got to write another letter, hardship letter. You know, I just don't want anyone who wants to go to Bold not be able to be in the room. So I think there's a lot of people who are uncomfortable and they don't want to come forward. So we might have to pick up the phone to those agents who we know need help and we know they haven't come to us and say, hey, you know, would you like to be in Bold? Do you know about Bold? And let's talk about how we can get you there. Because I just don't want to say no to anybody who wants to be there and needs to be there.
Yeah, those scholarships are a big deal, and it's not a ton of time on their part. And there is a little bit of weirdness around it. So I think if we as leaders can be the people to open up the conversation and make sure they know that it's okay and that's what it's there for. They don't need to feel weird about it. They don't need to feel like they don't deserve it. Like, none of it, right? As long as we can control that conversation, I think that's really, really helpful. What else we got? What else we got? Come on, Minnesota. Come on, Missouri.
I have one that's sort of on the fence, and I told her about the scholarships, and she's kind of, I mean, that was appealing to her. I think she's still not quite there because of the financial aspect. But what about talking to their Rainmakers and saying, hey, would it be worth it to you to maybe split the cost of what she has left?
I think it's totally smart. There's one of the top teams in the Tampa office where I sit. They're not splitting upfront, and yet they are reimbursing their agents at the team level, not at the market center level. So as long as they produce, then they're going to pay them back for attending Bold. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking. I don't think it would be a horrible idea to even go to your ALC if the Rainmaker's not willing to do it. Hey, ALC, we've got an agent in need. This is how much we need, right? And I do want to go 2 directions here. Be careful. You know your people better than I do. I know that. Be very careful of ever giving an agent a full ride unless you are 100% sure that they are all in. Because the people who have no skin in the game it's super easy for them to drop. Now, there are exceptions where it totally makes sense. And I mean, I've paid for people to go to Bold before because I knew that they needed to be there and it was make or break and they were willing to do the work. So just be careful of that. And yeah, I mean, somebody who's in a dire financial situation to even come up with $200, like you're saying, that's still a lot. If they're willing to do that, I think that's huge. So I would totally talk to their rainmaker. I love that. And I think here's my experience, and it may be different for you, and no judgment. I would say 8 out of 10 people that tell you they're not going over money are full of it. Now, I'm not saying they're necessarily rolling in dough at the moment, and yet they would go spend the money on something else that was like shinier and prettier and sexier, right? So I think that when people tell you money's the problem, I mean, my go-to response, and not necessarily word for word, this is more of a getting them to think this way, like, how long do you want that to be your life, though? Like, what if we could make some changes so that you never have to say that you can't afford something that you would like to do again? Like, at what point do we break the chain? Because people who say they can't afford it, it's usually not a one-time event in their life. It's a lifestyle. And that's why I bring up this conversation with this video around the why. Like, what you guys are going to do the next 2 weeks, because spoiler alert, you get to have more conversations the next 2 weeks. Like, they're really important. You really are changing lives. And if we're like totally staying above board, and I'm just being very honest with my leader friends, like, are there going to be people in the room that don't do the work and don't participate and don't have a great experience because of that? Sure. The vast majority of the people in that room leave changed. They leave their financial future changes, their personal future, their relationships, their business. They leave the experience changed. That's what you're doing for these next few weeks. That's what you've been doing for the last few weeks. It is so much bigger than filling a classroom. And on the days that you're like, ugh, I could not have any more of these conversations, I want you to remind yourself of that. You get 2 more weeks to fill this room. In truth, we have time after that, and yet that's not great to rely on. Anybody who misses even one of the classes, it's now a tougher sale to get them to enroll. So the next 2 weeks are really our opportunity. What else we got? Let's get a couple more. Come on, guys, speak up. What could you do? Forget about how you would do it. Like, let's do that for a second. Can we just be 3 years old and not have limiting beliefs for a minute? If resources were not an issue, if time were not an issue, what could you do this week that you think would get you great results? The unmute button is on the bottom left, just FYI.
If there were unlimited hours in a day, it would be calling and personally texting every person in the market center.
So here's what's interesting about that, Amberly. If for most market centers, now I do know there's some market centers on here that maybe have really skeleton crews right now. I know how the industry is. And for most of you, you have enough people that if you split up the roster consciously, not like, hey, just call whoever. Like, if somebody went and broke it down and you figured out how, like, you could do that this week. Mm-hmm. Even with the 800 other things that you have to do, like, you could get it done if you put all hands on deck. If you empowered everybody right down through the DOFI to make these calls, right? Like, you could get it done. I love that. Somebody else was speaking when you did, which is such a great problem to have on this call. Go for it.
So I was thinking testimonials, like video testimonials, and send them out to the market center. Send it to your closed Facebook group, out to the agents, and just people who they already see on a daily basis that are successful. Why do they think Bold is the greatest thing to do? Because this is what helped them get to where they are and help spark that for them.
So thank you for that. There's such a big difference between, like, think about when you were a kid and one of your parents told you to do something that you didn't want to do, and you're like, eh. And then maybe your aunt that you really liked and thought was cool, she asked you to do the same thing, and you were like, that sounds like a great idea, I'm gonna do it. Like, at the end of the day, our agents, like, we're paid to tell them to do these things. So I don't think they always listen at the same level that they would if it was coming from a colleague, from somebody on their level. So I think it's really smart. So here's a list of some things that you could do around that. First of all, if you guys should all be getting the emails that we send out. A lot of those have testimony videos. Guess what? They're not all watching them. So you could share those to your social media. You could be texting them out to your people. It's not oversharing because most of them don't open and don't watch it, right? So you have some things right there.
The one that was sent today was excellent. the one that got sent out this morning, she's powerful on that video, by the way.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. So you have some things there. You have agents in your office who have great bold stories. I don't care if they're taking this bold or not. They should be. Like, go to them. 60 minutes to 2 minutes, no longer than 2 minutes, or else they won't watch, right? Make a video. Who's already registered for bold? Have them make a video. If any of you guys have a powerful, bold story, share it. Share it. Tell your people. Right? We have to get the word out. We have to pull at their emotions in order for them to do the right thing. I know it's ridiculous that it's the way our human beings work, right? The other thing that I want to throw out there, and I know a lot of you are doing this, and I don't think everybody is, FOMO is your friend. And whether you have 1 or 2 people signed up or 30-something people signed up like some of you, that should be getting posted on social media with their face, with they're like, and do it on an individual basis so that you get more traction out of it. They should be posted up in your market center where in whatever area people are most likely to see. If you don't have a lot of people signed up for full bold and you have a lot of first step, use those people. Do whatever you can to create massive FOMO because it works. It works. All right, we have 5 minutes left. Here's what I'd like to hear. I'd love to hear from at least 2 people, maybe 3 if you're high Ds. What are you going to do differently or in greater amount this week? What are you going to do more of, or what are you going to do different this week? Come on, y'all. Accountable people would be fighting to share. Come on, friends, let's go. What are you doing?
Got a lot of marketing left to put out for that FOMO piece. We're doing individual posts for every person that RSVPs, lining it up with a bold law and the reason that they've told us why they're going.
I love it. I love it. Who's next? What are you going to do this week?
I'm really going to focus on the people who didn't say no, but they didn't say yes, and focus on getting them over that finish line.
I love that, and I'm gonna plus it. Who told you no that you know in your gut, in your heart, was like a soft no? If it was a hard no, like if I call them again, they're gonna be a flight risk from the office, that's different. Who gave you a wishy-washy no? I'd go back to them too. What else we got? Give me 1 or 2 more. I'm not letting you off early. This is a big week. We got 2 weeks to sell these rooms out. Come on, y'all. What are you doing?
There you go.
Yes.
I am back from Team Leader Boot Camp, and so I'm going to be reaching out to the ALC that has not signed up yet. I'm going to be reaching out to the top 20 with those folks that I haven't had conversations with by dropping a slide broadcast. Also, I have a smart plan that we're using to get more of the top 20 signed up. And then last but not least, I have guests, folks from my Nurtured that I'm going to be reaching out this entire week to invite them to come as guests as well. And now that I know about the scholarship, I'll be reaching out to those. I think I have 4 people that mentioned they needed help and see if I can get them on as well. So that's my 4-step plan for this week.
I love that so much. And I want to challenge all of you, really. That scholarship info, it was sent to them. That doesn't mean they read it either, just like the videos. Like, blast it out to your market center, put it on your social media, send an all agent email out, because you don't know who needs the help. I mean, you know some of them, there's people who you don't realize need help. So I love that. Thank you so much. Give me 1 more. Come on, give me 1 more. Let's go. Let's be bold, friends. Come on. So are we not going to do anything this week, or we just don't want to say it out loud because I have the most introverts I've ever had in one bold launch?
How many team leaders are all signed up for bold?
That's a good question. So thank you for that question. So that's a great one. If you know you're taking bold and you're not signed up, that should be done today, like right after this call for any leadership people, and that should be blasted all over social media. Follow the leader is a real thing, right? So I love that. I love that. I love that. If you're already signed up and the world doesn't know, the world should know. Guys, I'm here. I'm here all week. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to partner with you. I'm here to talk to your agents. I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to role play. I'm here to do whatever it is that you need me to do to ensure that you have massive impact. All right. So I will talk to you soon. Have a beautiful week. Let's crank it out. Bye.